This morning on Sunrise, a man is dead after police say his car was hit by another driver who did not stop for an LMPD traffic stop. What happened? As a suspect is in the hospital. And a family burdened by heartbreak after their loved one's unsolved murder. What police are doing, hoping to catch her killer.
With breaking news happening now, this is a Wave News Alert.
But first, this Thursday morning, we do have a Wave News Alert. A home goes up in flames. It's located just off Baxter Avenue in the Irish Hill neighborhood. Wave News reporter Josh Ninke is at the scene right now. This is on Hull Street. So, Josh, what happened here?
Yes, Shannon, this is still a very active scene, and I'm going to hop out of the way so you can see one of these homes is just destroyed right here. There's hardly anything left. Firefighters have been working very hard to make sure that they can get this under control, and it looks like for the most part there is a little bit of smoke coming up from that. But this has also affected some of the nearby buildings or the other homes as well. You see just how close these homes are to each other. You can see firefighters in the attic section of this home immediately to the right of where we're standing. They've evacuated people from all of these homes. I actually just got done speaking with a couple of people who live in both of these, including the homeowner who lived in the destroyed home. He says he woke up, smelled smoke coming maybe from the living room, tried to put out the fire himself with a garden hose, but couldn't. Got him and his family all out, and then went next door, knocked on the door, and got his neighbor out with her and her dogs. So everybody, at least from what I've been able to tell, seems fine and safe, but clearly some very severe damage out here this morning. So we're still waiting to speak with firefighters to see exactly what happened here, but you can see the fire, they're still working to fight this and get this under control here this morning. Going to stick around and see how things go here. So live here up Baxter Avenue, Josh Ninke, Wave News.
Thank you, Josh. All right, let's head over to Brian Good right now, showing us where this home is located. You can see there's a lot of activity there, so if you live in that neighborhood, you might want to avoid it right now.
And I just checked, by the way, LG&E reporting about 14 customers on that street right now without power, so obviously they've probably killed the power as a result of that. Here is right there at Baxter Avenue. Here is Hull Street, and Cooper is the cross street, very close. It's hard to see from the satellite image, but you can see these are the row homes that are all stacked up there on both sides of Hull Street, very, very close together, as Josh was saying, so that's the reason why, again, this likely impacted several homes there in that area off of Hull Street. We'll keep an eye on it. But right now, as far as traffic impacts, Baxter shouldn't be overly affected, nor Lexington, because it's off to the side, but be aware there could be emergency crews back and forth entering and exiting that area. We'll be monitoring it. All right, let's get you outside for the latest on the changes coming our way with the alert day set up tomorrow. Confidence is high on very strong winds coming our way. In fact, wind gusts to 55. Maybe up to 60 miles per hour as the bands of rain move through it, which will be moderate to heavy at times. Still an opportunity to see this go over to some snow later Friday night, but that will not be a setup to worry about. The snow amount looks very, very light, and some of you may not even see snow at all with this, but we will get cold for sure later Friday night into early on Saturday. There's a wind advisory out tomorrow for this wind event. We'll keep you updated. Live view into east side there downtown from atop the Waterfront Plaza in downtown Louisville there. 41 degrees at Ali, 37 Fort Knox. Corden coming in at 37 as well. So it is a chilly start, but I wouldn't say overly cold or anything like that. It'll be much worse, as you'll see coming up later in the 10-day. Weak system passing to our north. It just gave us a few clouds this morning. Another batch of clouds will stay just north of us today. Indiana, you may have a chance to cloud back up later on, but most of us will enjoy sunshine. But this is the system tomorrow that is developing back into the Rockies that will soon be here as we head into your Friday. But today is the quiet day. Partly sunny, high temperature right around 48 degrees. The latest on that alert day with Futurecasts on an hour-by-hour setup in just a few more minutes, Shannon.
All right, Brian, thanks. A man is dead after police say his car was hit by a driver who was fleeing from police in Louisville. Officers say that driver was trying to avoid getting pulled over in a stolen car. LMPD says it happened on Flans Avenue, just down the street from the Kroger in the Portland neighborhood. Wave News reporter Olivia Russell is outside of UofL Hospital right now with details on what led to this crash, Olivia.
Shannon, LMPD calling this senseless. A man killed by a suspect fleeing from police. LMPD only giving us a few details, though. We know that it happened just after 6:20 yesterday evening. An officer tried to perform a traffic stop in the 3300 block of Flans Avenue, but that suspect didn't stop. LMPD said the officer turned off his lights and sirens while that suspect kept driving. He didn't make it far, though, as he crashed into another car on 34th and Bank Streets. The victim in the other car died at UofL Hospital, but the suspect is expected to survive his injuries.
This is a very unfortunate thing that's happened tonight, senseless death that's taken place, and our officers are investigating to the hilt this time. We'll have more information in the days to come. Thank you.
A really short press conference with LMPD there, and as you heard, they're expecting to release more details in the coming days, but didn't tell us much more than that. We know the suspect is facing multiple charges, but we don't know that suspect's name. We can assume those charges have to do with that crash, that stolen vehicle, and fleeing from police, but we'll keep you updated as we learn more. Live outside of U of L Hospital, Olivia Russell, Wave News.
Thank you, Olivia. New on Sunrise, a teen's in the hospital after a shooting in Louisville. It happened around 6:30 last night off West Jefferson Street near the Norton Sports and Learning Center. Officers say a 15-year-old had been shot. He was taken to University Hospital and is expected to survive. Police say they do not have any suspects.
You can't put it into words, the pain that we feel every day. It doesn't get easier. It gets harder every day. Your feet hit the floor. And you know she's not there, and she's not going to be there.
8 months after a woman was shot and killed in the parking lot of a Louisville CVS, the killer still has not been caught. LMPD says they know who that person is, but they're asking for the community's help to find him. Amanda Miller was killed last May at the CVS on East Broadway. Her family says she was there to break up with her boyfriend and then ended up dead. Now LMPD joined Miller's family in asking the community for help. Police say the shooter is Maurice Byers. Miller's mother says her daughter had dated Byers for just 3 weeks and was trying to end the relationship when she was shot and killed. In September, LMPD shared photos of Byers, hoping someone knew him or where he could be. And yesterday, they spoke with Miller's family, and they put his picture out there again.
If a person knows where he's at or his whereabouts, he's a dangerous person. He shot my daughter point blank in the car several times. He's going to do it again. If he only knew her 3 weeks and didn't have emotions, he's going to do it again. And you know,
police say Byers is considered armed and dangerous. If you know anything about where he is, call police. A judge set a $10,000 bond for a Louisville celebrity chef who police say strangled a woman. Police say Darnell Super Chef Ferguson went into a woman's home without her permission, threatened and strangled her, stole her ID and debit card. Ferguson's lawyer says it started after he tried to drop off his children at the house. His lawyer wanted the bond set at $5,000, but prosecutors argued it should have been set at $50,000.
This is not a burglary. You don't take 3 children, they're elementary school age children, over to burglarize a house. They were exchanging children, finds out there's another person there, and that leads to the altercation.
The county's position is that $5,000 is woefully insufficient. And as I said, our motion is that this will be $50,000 plus HIP if posted. These are extremely serious allegations. They are recent, and we have concerns no matter what.
Before the judge made her bond decision, she disclosed that she knows who Ferguson is from his TV show called Super Chef Grudge Match.
I'm certainly aware of Mr. Ferguson. I am actually watching his show right now on television with my kids. So, however, my decision is I'm going to treat Mr. Ferguson like any other person who would walk in here. Ordinarily, I would set a strangulation bond at $10,000.
The judge also ordered Ferguson have no contact with the woman. His next court date is January 18th. The city's gun violence remains a major concern. Louisville police say for the year of 2023, 148 deaths are classified as homicide. In the year 2022, that number was 157, and in 2021, it was 178. With this year's legislative session underway, many are looking to lawmakers to try to tackle public safety. The Crisis Aversion and Rights Retention Bill, also known as CAR, would allow certain people, including family, friends, co-workers, to alert law enforcement of a person in a mental health crisis. Law enforcement would then petition the court to have guns removed from their possession. When brought up in a committee in December, it had support on both sides of the aisle, but some say it infringes on Second Amendment rights. Governor Andy Beshear said red flag laws are not a partisan issue and may make an impact in some situations, such as last April's Old National Bank mass shooting.
We trust our court system for custody of our children. Surely we can trust them with enforcing our Second Amendment rights while also protecting the lives of our people. It is way past time. In this instance, it might have helped, but we know in other instances it absolutely would help.
Lawmakers have not yet filed their version of a red flag law. We told you about one bill that's been filed to make widespread changes to Kentucky's criminal justice system. It is called the Safer Kentucky Act. One thing that includes is illegal street camping. The bill says anyone caught in a tent, hut, temporary shelter, or vehicle on a public or private street, a sidewalk, with the intent to sleep or camp without authority could face misdemeanor charges. The bill says that anyone caught in violation would have to leave or be physically relocated by police. Those against it say it would basically make it a crime to be houseless. Supporters say that's not the case.
So we're trying to say it's not a crime to be homeless, but you can do it in a defined area that the city can designate. In that defined area, we'll have to have sanitary facilities.
We have to take care of each other. When we become a society that just says they don't count, we throw them away, let them freeze, we'll throw them in jail. That doesn't work.
The bill would also add to the state's Stand Your Ground law, giving property owners the ability to confront such illegal campers. It is 6:10. Here's meteorologist Brian Good.
All right, thanks, Shannon. Next 12 hours will feature certainly the winter coat this morning. That wind adding certainly a chill to the air, but we'll make up for it this afternoon with some sunglasses and a beautiful setup for the kids when they get off the bus later today. Enjoy it. Let them get outside for a while and hopefully take the dog outside too for a walk around the neighborhood, because tomorrow will be much different. The latest thinking with that alert day next.
Thanks, Brian. Coming up, an old church in the Highlands could be getting new life. How the community is reacting to those plans next. An old church in the Highlands could be getting new life. A local developer is working to turn the vacant building into a new hotel. It's early in the process, but there's a fair amount of support for it. It's the Old Highlands Methodist Church located at Cherokee and Patterson. The idea is to turn it into a 26-room hotel. A lot of the elements would stay, such as the stained glass in the sanctuary. The developers held a meeting last night for people to see the plans. Most who live in the area were supportive of it. They say they'd like a new business in the area.
It can only be good for our neighborhood. Right now there's a dilapidated eyesore attracting homeless people, and hopefully in the future it'll be a business, a small local business that's bringing people into our neighborhood who will be here, who will be supporting our neighborhood.
The plan is to keep the parking lot for the church as is, with a valet option for hotel guests. And there's a plan, too, for an overflow parking lot close by. The project still has some hurdles to clear before construction can start. And there are a few committees that have to approve this before the hotel can go before the full Metro Council for approval. It is 6:15 right now, and yeah, everywhere you go, people are talking about what could be coming. Snow.
Cold in the snow. I know.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. We have the strong wind tomorrow, but everyone's like, how much snow are we talking about here? Exactly, for early next week. That part, just to give you, not to be a spoiler alert here, but we don't know the amounts yet that we would get. In some cases, it could be very light. It could be a bit more off to the south. We just don't know yet to be able to fine tune that, but I can tell you that it'll be cold enough that it will be snow, and then any amount, even dusting, will cause slick roads and issues with travel. So that's something we'll be watching for later Sunday, Monday, and even parts of Tuesday. More on that here in just a few minutes. We've got a strong low pressure in the meantime that we'll be tracking that arrives tomorrow. It's not going to be a snow maker for our region, but it will be a big wind maker and some heavy rainfall as well, as it winds up producing a blizzard setup for Chicagoland as we get into Friday night and Saturday. But for us, it's mainly just the wall of wind and rain combination. It's going to stay windy, even on the colder side as it moves on by, with some snow showers. Yes, that's possible, but it'll be very similar to the last event. So some of you didn't even see the snowfall in the last one. So that may be indeed the case with this as well, because it does move up into the Great Lakes fairly quick. So it doesn't linger long enough to give us much on the snow side. Heavy rain mainly between Evansville and say about Crawford County looks to be the zone to watch, the path of the low. That's where you're going to get your 1.5, 2 inch totals that can develop. Otherwise, a lot of us will be either near an inch or under that mark because it will be fairly progressive as it moves on by. As far as travel goes for the airlines, we're going to be tracking, of course, how that may impact some of the delays. It will likely certainly back up Chicago. Atlanta may see problems as well, so just be aware of that as you head into the day for Friday and Saturday. Don't forget, we have all this on our 24-hour streaming channel, which you can watch right now on wave.com or wave3.com, as well as on our streaming devices. All right, let's take a look outside and show you the latest from our SkyTrack camera. This is over at Aldi International, showing a partly cloudy sky at the moment. 41 degrees here into Louisville, 37 to the south into Lebanon, and about 36 down in Hart County. Good morning for all you down into Munfordville. Okay, clouds off to the east. Otherwise, we've got a clear setup. Beautiful sunrise should take place, and we'll see a decent amount of sun today. The exception is going to be anyone traveling up 65. So from Paoli, Salem area, Daisy Hill, all the way to Utica, you'll have to deal with perhaps some clouds for the daytime period. They'll be scooting right across southern areas of Indiana, but for a lot of us, including Louisville, we'll be just south enough that we should stay on the sunnier side there. This system's weak. This is not the main one. The main one's here, back into near Las Vegas and New Mexico. That is the system that's going to be moving across, and the wind alerts are issued well in advance of the path. They will likely keep extending all the way to the northeast, by the way. And notice on the legend here, we have a wind advisory and a high wind warning. There is a chance we may get close to that level, which would be frequent gusts that can get closer to 58 or 60 miles per hour. I can't rule that out. The system's got quite the kick to it as we head into your Friday. So dry today, 48. Get your errands done today. No problems at all there. As we head into tomorrow, most of the heavier rain should hold off until the morning commute is over with tomorrow, which is good. But we get into the daytime period, lunch, maybe a little more spotty in the afternoon time period, but still any band of heavier rain that moves through, maybe even some lightning that can take place, will easily produce a stronger wind potential there that could get between 55 and 60 miles per hour. And then we get on the colder side with some snow showers and colder weather. Cold for the weekend. Temperatures struggling to even get out of the 20s. It will be Sunday night into Monday, though. We'll be watching for the potential for snow. We know the Arctic blast is diving in across the Ohio Valley. The snow potential, we just know it's going to be generally across the Ozarks into Kentucky and Tennessee and the Appalachians as well. But the amounts, that still has to be worked on. So just bear with us on that as we get closer in time. But it will be bitterly cold as we head into the extended. Sunrise is back in just 2.5 minutes.
Here's a look at the current Kentucky Lottery jackpots.
It's 6:22. Who's excited for this? The total solar eclipse. Indiana, they're really getting ready because they're going to see a lot of people heading there for this. On the afternoon of April 8th of this year, it's a total solar eclipse. It'll last until August 2044. It'll arc across the southern half of Indiana from southwest to northeast. It'll encompass most of the Hoosier National Forest. So a phased opening for campsite reservations is scheduled to start tomorrow morning. Spots from March 29th to April 10th are first come, first serve. It's expected to fill up quickly. You can find that at recreation.gov. Also, the Indiana State Fairgrounds getting ready too. They're accepting camping reservations as well for the event. Very exciting, right? Are you getting ready?
Yeah, and here's the thing. We were down, of course, in Hopkinsville in 2017, but you've got to be in that 100% totality. Louisville's going to be at 99.6%. I'm telling you, it's still a big difference in that 0.4%. So it's worth it to be able to go and check it out. So we'll keep you updated. The closest we'll get to 100%, by the way, to Louisville will be roughly right around Scottsburg. That's when you enter the 100% range heading north. All right, well, who knows what the weather will be in April. Around here, yeah, worry about that later. All right, today it's going to be nice, though. Partly sunny sky. It would have been a good day if we had an eclipse today. 48 degrees. Tomorrow is an alert day for wind. Wind advisory, in fact, is in effect for much of the area for your Friday at 7 a.m. through 7 a.m. on Saturday. So strong wind gusts, the main concern there on Friday. Saturday and Sunday, really the daytime periods look dry. I can't rule out a flurry or two, but it's going to be cold. Wind chills even over the weekend may get close to zero. It's Sunday night and Monday and maybe even parts of Tuesday, where we enter a snow potential there, but right now the amount's just highly in question on that, and that makes a big difference. We know the Arctic cold. This is what we're accounting for right now with maybe a dusting of snow. If we get more than what is expected, these numbers will go way lower than what is indicated. So we'll just have to take that with baby steps, but we stay cold all the way into next week. More on the alert day for Friday coming up at 6:30 there, Shannon.
All right, Brian, thank you. Some crazy video. It shows the minute an EF2 tornado in Bamberg, South Carolina caused a big building to collapse. Look at this. You can see the cars going down the street, narrowly missing that system. And then when the dust clears, you can see the building, just parts of it just coming all across the road. It just completely comes down. They were dealing with some very high winds there because of that tornado. Winds of up to 125 miles per hour. Crews say the community did a great job listening to all the weather warnings, and that helped prevent injuries and fatalities during that storm. Former President Donald Trump will not be allowed to speak during closing arguments in his New York City fraud trial. The judge denied his request in a letter to the former president's attorneys yesterday. The letter says Trump failed to agree to preconditions that were set forward by the judge. The judge asked Trump to agree to limit his subjects while speaking and to comply within his existing gag order. After 3 extended deadlines, Trump still had not responded to that request. Well, remember the recent Ticketmaster nightmares? People waiting hours online to try to get tickets, and then they ended up not getting them, and then some were resold for thousands more than they were actually worth. Well, now more consumer protections could be coming soon for concert and other live events. It is called the Fans First Act. Texas Senator John Cornyn, one of the senators introducing this bill. It increases protections for ticket buyers. It strengthens a law that bans the use of computer bots and imposes penalties on resellers who engage in illegal ticket sales. The bill would also require full refunds when events are canceled, bans the sale of speculative tickets, and requires sellers to disclose the full price of a ticket, including fees, and requires them to clarify whether or not they're the original seller of the tickets. Coming up this morning, a man dead after a driver trying to flee from police hits his vehicle. Wave News reporter Olivia Russell is live there this morning with more on what happened. And we're staying on top of this breaking news. A massive fire at a house, and people in this neighborhood had to get out of their own homes. A live report coming up next.
With breaking news happening now, this is a Wave News Alert.
Some huge flames engulfed a home in the Irish Hill neighborhood early this morning. That home went up in flames just off Baxter Avenue. Many of the people who lived close by also had to get out of their houses. It happened on Hull Street, a few blocks away from Cave Hill. Wave News reporter Josh Ninke has been on the scene this morning and talking with some of the people who had to get out of their own homes. Josh.
Shannon, it's been a scary morning for a lot of folks. You see behind me, they are still working as we speak to get this thing under control. I just got done talking with Captain Donovan Sims here about what actually went down. Said about 5 o'clock they got the call, and it took 35 firefighters about 50 minutes to get this thing under control. So here's what's happening behind me now. I want to show you some video that one of the neighbors sent us of what exactly this looked like. Some wild flames engulfing this whole thing. It was very difficult for them to fight this fire. The folks living inside of the home got out just fine and then went next door to knock on their neighbor's home because, as you might imagine, damage to both of the homes that are on either side of this. And I spoke with that woman who got out of that home with her dogs intact as well.
Well, that was awful. I mean, it just went up like a tinderbox. And, I mean, the fire was scary as all get out. And then watching it catch my house on it made it even worse, you know.
Good news at this point, nobody hurt in this fire. Obviously, though, still working to get this thing under control and assess the damage to the homes nearby. Still also waiting to figure out what actually started this thing. A lot of questions here that got a few things to do before we can get some answers. It's live here off Hull Street. Josh Ninke, Wave News.
All right, Josh, thank you. Appreciate that. So let me show you the traffic map in that particular spot there off of Baxter as you head toward Hull and Cooper. That's the general zone. This is a Google satellite image of the homes that are stacked in that area. You see how close together they were. And, of course, that video, incredible how large the flames were there and how close the homes are. It just spreads easily. So there will likely be some traffic delays there. Obviously, everything being closed off, even some power outages there as they're working the scene. But overall, Baxter and Lexington will likely not be affected as as these will be just off to the side there, but still use some caution traveling into the Irish Hill area, into the Northern Highlands there, Upper Highlands. All right, as we get into Bullock County, just a heads up, we had a crash earlier on 65, not too far away from the exit there at Cedar Grove. Looks like that's been cleared, but there could still be some delays as you get a little closer to the scene there. All right, let's get you to the weather side where we've got the alert day tomorrow because of this. Wind advisory is out starting at 7 a.m. tomorrow through 7 a.m. Saturday. Wind gusts up to 55, maybe even a few spots up to 60 miles per hour. That is going to certainly cause some problems for us as we head throughout the day on Friday, especially toward the midday hour into the afternoon. We'll have to deal with potentially some strong winds in the area. Wind advisory will cover just about all of wave country. The exception are northern counties, Carroll, Jennings, and as you head into Jackson right now, weather services in Indianapolis and Wilmington will work on deciding that a little bit later in time. All right, we got a mainly clear sky now, 41 degrees outside, 30s in outlying areas, and we got a partly cloudy sky off to the north and northeast, but we'll have a decent amount of sun today as this weak system scoots on by. Temperatures actually getting at or even above normal for a few hours this afternoon. We'll take it because it'll be nice and quiet. High today of 48. Much more with Futurecast on the heavy rain side of that system for tomorrow here in just a few more minutes, Shannon.
Thanks, Brian. A man is dead after police say his car was hit by a driver who was fleeing from police. Officers say that driver was trying to avoid getting pulled over in a stolen car. Wave News reporter Olivia Russell is outside of Viewville Hospital this morning with more on what led to that deadly crash. Olivia.
And Shannon, we've learned that car was stolen out of Indianapolis, ended with a crash and a man dead here in Louisville. That could be why that driver didn't want to pull over when an officer attempted a traffic stop in the 3300 block of Flans Avenue. LMPD says the officer turned off his lights and sirens. The car kept going until it crashed into another car about a block away. The victim in the other car died at the hospital, and the suspect is expected to survive his injuries. But there are still a lot of unknowns here, like the suspect's name and how fast that suspect's car was driving. LMPD says he's facing multiple charges, but didn't give us any specifics. They told us they'd be releasing some more information in the days to come, so we'll keep you updated as we learn more. Live outside of U of L Hospital, Olivia Russell, Wave News.
Olivia, thanks. A woman is talking to us about the circumstances surrounding the death of her son. Justin Cooper was hit and killed by a car on Preston Highway on December 20th. That car left the scene. His mother, Teresa Bryant, says between the driver and LMPD, she hasn't been able to process anything or get information about what happened. Bryant says she was told about the incident the next morning because the coroner left her a message. She says she was not told in person, and that hurt her. She says no one from LMPD has reached out, and she says this has kept her from grieving.
I think in all this, I have not had time to process anything because I'm having to try to find out details myself.
Bryant says her son was intoxicated when this happened, and she says he was homeless and did have some struggles, but she would love the driver to come forward and turn themselves in. LMPD's Chief Jacqueline Gwynn Villarreal has been under scrutiny after her previous personnel file from Atlanta showed she'd been found to have lied about searching for the case file on her brother-in-law. That was a drug trafficking investigation. The file showed her brother-in-law's auto repair shop was raided in 2003. They found over a kilo of cocaine and multiple illegal guns. That is something her brother-in-law had already been convicted of before. After his arrest, Villarreal was caught looking through the investigator's desk for a file on him, and the department then set up a hidden camera, and they caught her taking the file for 7 minutes. Villarreal was suspended over that. She recently told us in a statement she worked to gain trust back after that happened, and her brother-in-law was also on bond at the time for an involuntary manslaughter charge. Many people asked us to see those findings in our personnel file. We have uploaded it onto our website, wave3.com. You can go there to see it for yourself. A new bill that seeks to move elections for state constitutional officers to even-numbered years cleared its first hurdle in the Kentucky Senate. The bill looks to put the race for governor and other statewide offices on the ballot in the same year as presidential elections. Supporters say this will save the state money and also create better voter turnout in elections.
People are getting less and less interested in our statewide races. Turnout was down over 8% this year in 2023 than it was in 2019.
Nowadays, with national division, with presidential elections lasting for years and eating up the airwaves, I think it's really important that the people of Kentucky have space to focus on Kentucky issues.
If it is passed by the full General Assembly, the issue could be placed on ballots by this November. Helping others in honor of one of the victims of the Old National Bank mass shooting. WaterStep is celebrating a $500,000 donation given in honor of Tommy Elliott. Elliott was the senior vice president at Old National Bank. He was one of 5 employees killed in last year's mass shooting. Wednesday, Governor Beshear was in Louisville to help celebrate this anonymous donation and talked about what it will accomplish. Beshear and Elliott were close friends. WaterStep helps deliver clean drinking water to communities all across the world. And on Wednesday, Elliott's widow talked about how this act of kindness is helping her heal.
In the midst of deep loss and grief, there's not only a search for the evidence of hope, but how that hope might be inserted amongst the lives of others.
For more information on WaterStep and to donate, you can go to their website, which is waterstep.org. It is 6:39. And here's Brian taking us through the next 12 hours today. And today's actually not going to be so bad.
Not too bad. Time to dust off the shades, right? Enjoy some of that sunshine today. A little chilly this morning, especially that breeze. We'll add a bit of a chill factor a bit later on today. Not terrible at all with a high temperature well into the 40s. We got an active setup for Friday and frankly, the rest of the 10-day. I'll show you next.
Never heard of this before. It's called a blind date photo shoot, but apparently it's a thing, and an Ohio couple did it, and hey, guess what? They fell in love. Savannah and Colt Reese, they met on one of those blind date photo shoots. So this is how it works. 2 strangers on a blind date then have to get up close and personal to take photos. It kind of will look like engagement photos. So they did this for the first time in 2021, and then they say they just fell in love.
First, when I turned around, there was a relief that it wasn't all just a practical joke set up by my friends. I was like, okay, there's actually someone here.
At first it's awkward because you don't know them, and then you have to get all cuddly with each other and do those awkward couple pictures. But we laughed the whole time.
It's crazy. They say the laughter hasn't stopped either. They started dating shortly after that photo shoot, and then about a year later, they went back to that lake to take their engagement and wedding photos. And now they're expecting a baby, and they're expecting that baby on Valentine's Day. So very sweet. I don't know. Brian, would you do that? A blind date photo shoot? No way.
I'm way too awkward to do that. There's no way. But at the same time, I mean, first off, that escalated quickly. But it's also, it does seem like fate because with the baby being due on Valentine's Day, I mean, it all kind of fits, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go. Love works in mysterious ways. All right. Well, someone be bold to do that, that's for sure. All right. It is cold enough to snow outside. Everyone's talking about the chances for snow down the road in the 10-day early alert. So we'll do that. We'll discuss the snow chances in just 30 seconds. Well, we know we have the alert day out for mainly wind as we head into the day on Friday, but we also have alert days out for the end of the weekend and early next week, mainly for the cold attack that's coming our way, but also for the chance at some snowfall. There's still a lot of questions on how much snow can actually fall. Our concern is obviously the ground's going to be cold, so everything will have a chance to stick. Therefore, road conditions will be, for the first time this season, would be an issue and be an impact. So that's the reason why we have to watch it. So as we get to Friday night, early Saturday, our snow potential here listed over the next several days. There's a small risk across southern Indiana, mainly for Friday night, early Saturday. It looks minor. There's the system to watch, and it may be systems. It may be split into 2. We'll see how that plays out, but the general window is going to be late Sunday into Tuesday. We'll narrow it down. I promise we will. Be patient. Everyone's wanting to know amounts in your location, but it's a holiday weekend, so everyone hopefully has a chance to just relax and stay inside, and we'll do all the worrying for you. And then right after that, there's not just one, but maybe a round of systems coming our way that could still have some wintry elements to it, whether it's snow and or ice down the road. Anytime you get Arctic air that moves in and settles into your area, it's hard to get rid of it. And that's the reason why wintry weather may try to hold on down the road. It's a busy 10-day, that's for sure. All right, out here right now, it's It's cold, but it's not overly frigid or anything like that. And nothing compared to what's coming our way in just a few days. But 38 degrees right now here into the weather garden with a mainly clear sky overhead. I can see some of the stars, so that's a good sign. We've got a few clouds off to the east. Should have a very nice sunrise for this morning, but the radar is quiet locally. A few snow showers across the Great Lakes, the upper Ohio Valley. But look at the snow and the rain back into California, Nevada, and Colorado. That is the bigger system that arrives tomorrow. Again, a completely separate ordeal from the snow chance I just talked about for Sunday into Monday. So make sure I'm clear on that. So this afternoon, we'll have a decent amount of sun. 48 will be our high. Then we cloud up towards sunrise. The rain is going to approach at an angle to where Indiana will see the rain first, more so than Kentucky will. And it'll be roughly the morning commute. You'll start to see the rain increase in Indiana. But for Louisville and central Kentucky, it may take until late morning, if not lunch, to see the rain really ramp up. And some of this will be moderate to heavy at times, even some lightning and thunder. But what you can't see here is embedded in that band of rain, there will be the potential for very strong wind gusts that could reach and or exceed 55 miles per hour. And that can start to produce damage if that happens. It looks to be isolated type of a setup right now, but something we can't ignore. And that trend will continue to elevate into the 2, 4 o'clock, even 8 o'clock window into the evening hours before slowly easing back down. So it's mainly a daytime concern and mainly the afternoon portion of that daytime. Once we get into tomorrow night, colder air does move in. That's when we'll see it change over to some light snow. We will be colder with this one compared to the past couple of chances of snow, to where there could be a couple of slick spots, especially north and east of Louisville. So we'll watch as we do early on your Saturday. But look at that wind potential, 58. That's what some of the modeling is spitting out for numbers in the afternoon. So you can see why we need to watch that carefully, an hour-by-hour setup on Friday. We get cold for the weekend, and once we get cold for this weekend, we just stay cold. Temperatures will stay below freezing. Wind chills could even get close to 0 this weekend. Likely to go below 0, though, as we into early next week. And another chance of that wintry weather as we into next Thursday or Friday. Let's hope we don't get alert days on that. But there's no doubt a lot of changes coming our way. So hopefully everyone's ready for the cold. It's coming our way no matter what there, Shannon.
That is true. So we have to get ready. All right. Thanks, Brian. New on Sunrise, the 82-year-old woman hurt in a violent Louisville home invasion is getting help from the community. Jamara Curtin is facing 3 counts of first-degree robbery for the attack that put an 82-year-old in the hospital. Police say Curtin broke into the woman's home in Valley Station Friday, hit her with a crowbar and robbed her. She then turned herself in later at LMDC. The victim is still in serious condition in the hospital. A family member created a GoFundMe account to help her with her recovery. If you'd like to make a donation, we have a link for you on wave3.com. It's been 6 months since 6-year-old Onyx Sands lost her ability to walk after a Louisville road rage incident. We've been following her recovery, including the day she finally got to leave the hospital. And now we sat down with her family for an update. On July 10th, 2023, Onyx's life changed forever when bullets struck her back during a road rage incident. Since then, she's had several procedures and was hospitalized for 39 days and is now doing outpatient treatment to make her transition in a wheelchair a little easier. Monday, she was finally able to go back to school for the first time. Her mother, China, says it's meant the world to her to see how excited Onyx is to be around her friends and be back at school again.
It's good to see her back in that environment because it really does make her happy. She's happy to see her friends. They're all happy to see her. But it gets hard for me because I'm watching her now in a situation where she's not able to do the things that everyone around her is doing.
3 people have been charged in connection to that road rage shooting that injured Onyx. Her mother says they're still waiting for justice to take its course as they're waiting for another pretrial hearing for 2 suspects. That comes on January 18th. The trial is expected to start in February, but her mom believes that date might be pushed back. Churchill Downs says historical racing machines have helped push the purse of the Kentucky Derby up to $5 million. That is a $2 million increase. It'll be a record for Derby 150. The first place winner will get $3.1 million. Second place, $1 million. And then the third place, $500,000. Churchill Downs says historical racing machines at places like Derby City Gaming have made these new payouts possible. Wow. We'll be right back with Wave News Sunrise. Taking a look at our wake up watch list today, an early morning fire destroyed a house just off Baxter Avenue in Irish Hill this morning. Wave News reporter Josh Ninke has been on the scene and has more.
Yeah, Shannon, barely anything left of the home back here. Firefighters are saying they're not sure when they're going to be able to actually get onto the property and check out the damage here and start assessing what happened this morning. This happened around 5 o'clock this morning. Firefighters say they were out here within 3 minutes, but then I want to show you the flames they came out here to. House fully engulfed and just absolutely destroyed here after a short time. Took 35 firefighters close to an hour to get this thing under control. They're still working to get it under control. Also want to mention LG&E is out here because the power, as you might imagine, is out to this area. A lot of these homes very close together, power lines right here on top of these homes. So we're working to figure out just how long it'll take for those power lines to get up. But another important thing to note here, everybody got out of these homes safe. I spoke with the person who lived inside the home that was destroyed. So they woke up, smelled smoke, got them and their family out of there, and then went to their neighbor's home and got her and her 2 little dogs out safe as well. So that's the good news of what's happening here. Red Cross will be out to help out these folks to figure out what's next as they assess the damage and figure out their next steps for where they're going to be staying, at least in the short term. So we know there's some very cold temperatures coming out here, coming very, very quickly. So that's what we've got out here. We'll be out here to keep you updated on what's happening. So live here in Irish Hills, Josh Ninke, Wave News.
All right, thank you, Josh. Appreciate that. Some scary images for sure. When anytime we see something like that, usually we fear the worst. So I'm glad that everyone seems to be okay there. All right, 48 degrees right now as we head for the afternoon high temperature outlook in the next 12 hours with a decent amount of sunshine coming our way. It's all about the alert day that kicks in as we head into tomorrow, mainly because of wind more than anything. So wind advisory is already out for a good chunk of you watching right now across wave country as we head into Friday, starting at 7 a.m. Friday all the way to 7 a.m. on Saturday. We're talking about wind gusts 55 to 60 miles per hour. Can't be rolled out. Now the rain will move in just after rush hour, but it will be fairly steady for several hours on your Friday. Just kind of a messy day on travel period. So please be careful on your Friday. We'll have more on this as the day evolves and certainly tomorrow morning on sunrise. As we get into the weekend, a colder setup. We drop below freezing into the 20s with wind chills in the single digits as we head into especially Saturday night and early Sunday. Snow chances still there late Sunday into Monday. We just don't know yet how much moisture this is going to have to produce an accumulated snow. We just know that the air is going to be so cold. It won't take much to get snow, and it won't take much to cause slick roads. So please be careful, and we'll fine-tune that in the coming days.
So we could get just a little dusting, or we could get
maybe a little more. A dusting and a half, maybe.
Okay.
Stay tuned. We'll be watching. I promise. Snow lovers are getting impatient.
So should we go buy sleds?
May not be a bad idea.
Okay. All right. Hope you have a great day. See you tomorrow.
Get live streaming news, 24-hour weather, investigation,